Alright, so I got work tomorrow. It always seems like when I get help, there's always drama with it. And I'm not supposed to say nothing because people get embarrassed or their pride is hurt. But this is more than just pride in my situation, and I wish more people were able to understand that. Many people do show up in person to help. I'm grateful for the help. But also, it needs to be actual help. A lot of people have promised me help that they just couldn't provide because they couldn't stay off the drugs or the alcohol or whatever else the case may be. And that doesn't make them bad people. It just means that they took on something that they weren't equipped to take on. So right here is a list from Clearview. It's a bunch of the people who are in charge there. I didn't get to meet very many of these people unless they went by other names. There's a guy named Brian who is not even on this list. See, there were technicians. None of these things say technician. None of these names are of technicians. These are all therapists. The technicians they're babysitters. They're hired at places like Walmart, 7-Eleven. So this is the clinicians list. The situation with Natalie's dad and the harassment of me in Dual County, Nebraska. This is all the police wrote down, and they wrote down that Sheriff DaCosta wrote that down months and months and months after the incident. By the way, Scott wasn't there for that incident. Jordan Anderson was, and I have it recorded on this YouTube. I have spent about $35,000 jumping through all these hoops for the courts, hoping that they'll take a look at something. But most of the people who offered to help me were either cowards or they were full of pride or jealousy or chemicals of some sort. And they don't think very well. And between harming me and quitting their habit, they're not going to quit their habit. People who are selfish are just going to be selfish. A lot of people were telling me I was selfless at the very start, and by the end, they were calling me selfish. Now, what changed? Well, here's the difference. Everybody loves that you tell the truth until you tell the truth about them. Then you're the devil. Well, I'm not trying to hate anyone. I'm trying to change laws so these things that happen to myself and happen to Natalie and happen to her sister and happen to many other people don't continue to happen. I don't make the victims. I don't make the victims do the mean things that they do to protect their predators. But you know what? To this day, most of the victims I know would rather protect their predators than speak out. They're more afraid of speaking out than they are of that person being a repeat offender doing it to somebody else. Nobody should have to break the law to defend themselves. Nobody. Now, with Star, at least she's here in person to take a look at the evidence, and I've gotten to show her quite a bit today with everything else going on. We have still managed to make some time to get some stuff done, and that is extremely important. I got at least half a dozen, or at least a dozen videos recorded from the day. And of course, they're not all on the internet, and I have a lot more like that. I have the evidence. I just need someone to be my voice. The police did everything that they could to abuse their power and also to abuse the medical community and manipulate them into doing harmful things to me in order to cover up their crimes, and that is not okay. Now, Star has already gotten to see a lot of that evidence. Well, I can't say a lot because there is so much of it. She's gotten to be there for when I try to explain this stuff to the cops and how no matter what, it's not their jurisdiction, it's not their fault, it's not their this, it's not their that. She's gotten to be there for the lies that the police have told and the damage that has been caused to me as a result of it. And hopefully she's able to take the fight from Logan County and get something done with that. It'll take a lot of phone calls though, and well, that takes time to do it. It's difficult to do that when you're traveling or when you're arguing or when you have to find something to eat. So if, people who are trying to help me have all of the things they need, they can help me. But if they don't have those resources or they have to depend on others for those resources, it makes it impossible. A lot of people tell me, well, this is stuff that you might not want to record. No, I do. I want to record everything. You're not going to tell me anything as far as courts go that doesn't actually surprise me. See, with all these people that told me that there were no warrants, I told all of them, no, these are hidden warrants. They have them there for me for a reason. And they do want me. Any opportunity or any excuse they can make or get to prevent me from showing evidence in court, they'll make or get. Now, Meg, she's my autism advocate. She hit the nail right on the head when she said that where I go wrong was when I start talking about what the police did. Everybody turns off their ears. They really do. Anyway, thank you for coming, Star. And I'm sorry about all the drama. I hope it wasn't, well, I hope it wasn't. But also, at least we're getting something done. I wish we'd have been able to get a hold of Meg a little bit earlier, but I mean, at least we're doing something now. I'm still trying to find my paperwork review, and that are not peer review from Chesapeake. I showed it on the video just the other night, so I know that it's up here somewhere. I just don't know where exactly. Let's get some of this. This is from Jason Jeffs in Chapel, Nebraska. A lot of this stuff is written by other people. Most of this pile actually is written by other people. And I haven't been able to finish my story yet. It's just all of these environments are overwhelming and nobody wants to understand that. Well, nobody who really should. And then when people ended up dead, like, yeah, after that, they're like, oh, well, we better play on the mentally ill tag. Is that my phone? Now we got to figure out which one. This one says my service ends in 3 days on this phone. That sucks because that phone was pretty important. I was going to try to use it so that I could try to get some of these phone calls to numbers that, I mean, really, you saw how difficult it was for me to talk to you with people doing that crap on the phone. I couldn't even answer the phone or even unlock it. I don't know. I have to find that. And they screwed up and they spent the last 4 years trying to paint me as schizophrenic. I'm like, oh my God, you guys. But even calling me names like that doesn't detract from the fact that the evidence exists. How much of the evidence that you've seen so far did you get to see on the internet?
early enough, I think, but still a lot to me at least,
Does it look like I made no effort to try to get something done?
No.
How much effort you think? How many hours you think it took to go through and do all this?
You've done more than what you really did to. Way more.
And you got to be there for them saying there was no warrants. They also said that there, at least there's witnesses to it. Now, a lot of people that are mad at me, they're mad because I posted stuff on the internet about why they couldn't help me. I'm like, it is pertinent to my case. It isn't just your personal business. These are reasons why you can't help me. You can't help me because you're afraid of the cops. I'm going to tell people, hey, she's not helping me because she's afraid of the cops. If the cops came to your work and made you feel intimidated and followed you when you took your kids to school and intimidated you twice in one day, like, yeah, I understand why there's an issue, but that was Candace Bondurant. I understood her issue. I also understood that instead of stabbing me in the back, she could have waited a couple of days until they found Natalie's killer. Instead, what she was trying to do was backtrack.
Didn't that just get her more in trouble, though?
Candace didn't get in any trouble. That's the problem with people from Chapel, Nebraska, or any small town. You live by reputation. It doesn't matter if I'm the good guy or the bad guy. What matters is the reputation. And popular people don't like me, that's what matters. Or if somebody the popular people like is running his mouth, that's what matters. Laura Nelson's afraid for her son. She's not afraid that I would do anything to her son. She's afraid that if she tells the truth, that she's going to lose her business and they're going to take her son. I know that paperwork is around here somewhere. If I keep on looking, I'll eventually find it. It's easy to tell from the other stuff because it's pretty dirty. And through all of this, it's been doing what other people told me to do that got me in trouble.
Usually how it goes.
garbage on the internet. I'm like, no, this is stuff that I have to deal with in real life. It's a lot more than just internet bullying. And I'm not a villain for bullying them back. They don't fucking like it. When they bullied me, I went to the police. That didn't work. I went to my friends. That didn't work. I went to the source. That didn't work. Just wait till you get all the death threats. They're lovely. People calling me a Satan worshiper and telling me they want to cut my nuts off and slice my throat and shit. And then their friends get a hold of me. You better not talk to my friend. Oh my God, your friend was threatening to cut my balls off. All the way from British Columbia, by the way. That's in Canada.
Do you know the name of that person that assaulted you at Clearview? That was a person that worked there?
There's a few people who work there, but I don't know their names. I tried writing them down. There was a lot of evidence that was took by the police that they never returned, but it was never in any of my court stuff. Um, some of the most important ones to look up for Arapahoe County is Pamela Carty, and look her name up on my email. You have my permission to use my email. There's also, on January 9th of 2018, they obtained a warrant. That's what they had assault me and charged me with assault for. It was, they could obtain a warrant to get all of the information that I had literally given them already. I gave them every piece of information that I had. So let me use her phone. Court is at 9 a.m. Yes, ma'am. Alright, now I know for a fact that I had it because I showed it on my channel on a video just a few days ago. This is the protection order paperwork from the protection order I was never allowed to go to court over. They illegally prevented me from going to 5 different court dates. And then my public pretender didn't do her job. Never bothered to let any of these other people know. None of my concerns were ever heard. I had to repeat myself, and they're like, we're going in circles. Well, yeah, we're going in circles. You keep saying the same thing over and over again, and I'm trying to tell you what's going on. Let's see. This is from Natalie Bollinger. I couldn't go to that one because I didn't have the money, and I didn't even know she was in the state of Colorado. Now this one is from Rochelle Campbell. She was trying to get one against me, and she did. I wasn't allowed to go to that court date because I was locked up. Meanwhile, Pamela Carty never bothered to show up. Now she did. It says, now mind you, I'm in jail on this day. It's September 9th of 2018. Or no, September 27th of It says at 9:51 a.m. and this matter was set on 9:30 a.m. docket. Court notes a person identifying themselves as an Arapahoe County public defender left a voicemail without entering their appearance in this case to try to have this matter continued. Court finds that respondent has not made any alternative arrangements to continue. I did nothing but try. The problem is, you remember the officer I showed you a picture of, Officer McRae? Yeah, there was a situation with her and Thorne, and they were using the mentally ill thing to have me harmed repeatedly. But anyway, it says the respondent has not made any alternative arrangements to continue today's hearing, and the court orders this matter will proceed to hearing today. They literally did everything they could to prevent me from having a court date. Oh, restricted again. Alright, now all it'll do is buzz. It sucks because I lose my phone and I can't find it and I can't call it because it doesn't do nothing but buzz. Anyway, so they had court without me. Pamela Carty was the one who made that call. That was after over a week of trying to get a hold of her. She had repeatedly not showed up to court. None of my public pretenders bothered to show up. Like every court date, it was a different public pretender, but it was never my public pretender. Now, with this one right here, I needed the protection order from these people, and none of the information that is on my videos is information that wasn't already out there. That's the thing. They're trying to pretend like I'm a bad person because I showed evidence. Like, all right, in that email from Natalie, it mentions Shelly. It doesn't mention Rochelle, though, but she mentions her sister in our emails or in our messages. And then Ted. Like, I didn't know there was a Ted Jr., but they were trying to basically get Ted Sr. protected because he has the same name as his son. The problem is that these people harassed me and destroyed my life for, first of all, over a year before Natalie was killed, and then with Rochelle and all of them, like, for the last 3 years, my life has been nothing but hell because these people were allowed to do whatever they wanted. The stuff from Kara Johnson Miles and the stuff from Shannon Alvarado shows that I was telling the truth in all of this. But the thing is that, all right, right here on the 16th day of August, this is the one that they pretended to serve me while I was completely out of it. I had no fucking clue what the hell was going on. But they held court without me on the 29th. I was in jail from the 26th to the 29th in Boulder, and then I was transferred from Boulder to Arapahoe County on the 29th. So I was in police custody the entire time. No matter what, they weren't going to allow me to do that. Now, there's a lot of stuff on here where they try to pretend like I'm trying to kill people with a gun. And then here's the desperate one. That's where I threatened the President of the United States, and I made this big old public thing here and a big old public show so that I could force somebody to take a fucking look. Like, I was sick and tired of being broke. I was sick and tired of people pretending like I'm a bad person because they gave me a fucking sandwich. I'm like, hey, you know what? I would like to be able to buy my own sandwich, and I need you to speak up for that. You know? Instead, they throw it in my face over and over again that they gave me a sandwich. I'm like, fuck your sandwich. I needed your words. But they were allowed to have court without me, with a judge who had severely screwed up in Natalie's case. And that was part of the reason that I was targeted the way that I was. That judge did not do his job. He didn't even try to do his job. And that's just pathetic. Let's see. It says, I share screenshots of minor children on YouTube. I haven't shown any minors on my YouTube or on my Facebook. So I don't get where they're coming off saying that. But it says, I also share screenshots. Let's see. YouTube and Facebook have taken down many videos. Well, at first, they were complaining that every single thing that I posted was spam. It was thousands of people who just really hated me because of the news. One of the videos that I had 97,000 views on it. I mean, that's almost 100,000. That's a lot. And that was on my Facebook. Now, when I had to make that stuff private, it sucked because I was trying to show everything, and now I have to go through and try to make everything not private anymore. And here, like literally, here they're complaining that I have a fake gun with jalapeno juice. And it says threats to shoot people, name minors in his account, name calls and harasses all family. You know what? Nobody wanted to see any of the shit that the family was doing to me and continued to do to me long after this stuff was done. Like my predators and their friends took part. I literally had no choice but to break the law. And nobody wants to hear that because it's not convenient for them. Now, if I could be allowed to show Rochelle Shelley Campbell and what Natalie's real mother and the other stepmother, Shelley, had to say, like, to me, it's obvious they were playing the entire time. The problem is I need somebody to actually speak for me. And I haven't had that. I haven't had somebody who's willing to sit down with me and actually do something until now. And this is Rochelle Campbell, Natalie Bollinger. This is stuff that, like, literally, I wasn't allowed to go to any of these court dates. And I literally had to break the law to get these court dates so that I could show these fucking idiots that people were harming me. Like, holy hell. Nobody should have to do that. And this is after hundreds of calls to people like Jeff Ritter and Kara Heller and a lot of other people who, God, it sucks that I wasn't able to unload my stuff because there's a lot of stuff that I can't find. It's probably back in chapel, but there's safety issues there, and they're not going to address my safety issues. They're going to ignore me and pretend that their cops are all the best people in the world who would never do anything harmful to anybody because they're saints. They were born into sainthood. They're police officers. This is what they do. Fuck those guys. I'm tired of it. Anyway, these people's assault against me forced me to break the law, and I don't want to break the law. Nobody should have to break the law, but that's still what I'm having to deal with. Is that because I was never allowed to defend myself and never allowed to show evidence and harmed repeatedly for 3 years before any officer pretended like he was going to listen to me. And then those are officers who had repeatedly committed felonies since Natalie was killed to try to cover for their other officers. I'm told I have to go to these guys. Now that stuff, some of it is actually on this computer further back. In my videos, I talk about a lot of the stuff that I've gone through, so you can go through and see about what time period. There's a lot of stuff that's time and date stamped. There's a lot. Let me show you this here. Like, this is Deputy Holloway, Scott DaCosta. These are a lot of the videos from recently. This is Meg right here, but DHHS call on 1/8/2021. This is George. This is an important one. This is a conversation with a guy who was witness to one of the assaults. Actually, I'll try to link to that in this video, if it'll let me. This was a lot of stress for me. Yesterday really sucked, and I only say that because it's 12:09 and we started a new day. I'm physically and mentally exhausted, and I don't like it. I mean, I've spent all of the money that I should have been able to use to take care of myself, to travel all over the country and pay people who are too drunk or too stoned or too screwed up on whatever the hell. And then I'm not supposed to say nothing. If I do, I'm a bad guy. All right, what was I going to look up?
You're looking up something.
Something what? But that's I'm exhausted too.
It has nothing to do with it. No, I can't remember.
It's all right. Videos. Yes, I remember. All right, Georgia witness to assault and harassment, hazing. Let's see, and then full size, and then we will copy video URL and put that on this. 11 of the conversations from today are, well, 12 of the conversations from today are not on my YouTube. They're full of private stuff, and the ones that aren't full of private stuff, I still haven't been able to go through and name. I still have to do that. But that's in this file right here, January 11th calls. A lot of these right here are full of evidence. I mean, it's 4 years of hell, and I shouldn't have had to break the law to try to get somebody to listen. All of these are important. Well, literally everything on this computer is important. All right, so the conversation with George, that's about one of the assaults in Boulder. I don't know if it'll play it on here if I press the play button. We did. He was. That was when I got out of the chair.
Someone's calling me.
Find my phone. Hello.
Please leave your message for 7207.
Hello, this is Sean Schwartz. You just called me, like literally just called me. So I was wondering who you are. I guess you're busy. Bye. All right, Meg said she figured out the WebEx thing, so she's going to log in.
Okay.
You pretty exhausted?
Just my eyeballs.
Yes, ma'am. But you see, this is obviously these are real people.
Yeah.
I put links to them. There's a couple of important ones. One of the videos is called Four Peaches the Liar.
I think I saw some of that one before.
Yeah, well, there's 116 links in the bottom. YouTube video for Peaches the Liar. (116) video conversations with witnesses. Alright. I suppose I should probably start packing everything up to put in the vehicle. You'll have a safe place for it if they pull some more kangaroo stuff, will you? You'll have a place with internet where you can sit down and work on it.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
You think anybody there might be able or willing to help?
My husband, he hasn't been able to come here personally, but over there where he actually can do things, yeah, I'm sure he would, and he will. Besides him, well, I'm not a friendly person in general. I'm not many friends, but he does, and I'm sure that if I asked him to, he would make it known to the people he knows. And, you know,
Well, you can send the evidence out to whoever you want. You have my permission to send it wherever you want. Anything that you see, anything that you read. There's a lot of people on there that weren't my friends before Natalie died, and you'll have to do that super long scrolling up to the top thing on nearly all of them. But there's also, you can, in the little thing on the side here, it's probably the most important. You go to the pictures on the side. I don't know why I didn't do it. Just do something. This thing is so full of evidence. I think I'm surprised it still lets me take videos. If I didn't bring it down to the lowest graphics, I wouldn't be able to store nearly as much as I do. Sounds like it's overheating. There it finally popped up. In some of those ones that are recorded with the little mini recorder, they're pretty scary. It's got people like Wendell McPhee and a few other people that are talking about how Sheriff Scott DeCosta is trying to run me out of town. When I tried to make that phone call, you see what happened. It cost all of us a lot of money. And then you had to turn around and come back.
I don't do it anyway.
Oh, getting it done in a quick fashion is not exactly. See, there it finally popped up.
It wasn't the easiest thing. Financially, being willing to do it wasn't the hard part.
You might want to scroll all the way back to the very beginning. You'll see how much effort I really did make. I was also good to these people, and they don't want to remember that. But you'll get to see it. From the very beginning all the way through to today, it's been important to show the truth. It's not just justice for Natalie, it's also justice for me. You can't have one without the other. Her predators are my predators. The people who did those terrible things to Natalie did terrible and continue to do terrible things to me. I mean, when they slandered my name to the point that they didn't have to do anything more to me, the American public was going to do it for them, and the foreign public was going to do it for them. It screwed me pretty severely. And having to trust alcoholics and drug addicts because I couldn't trust the police, I mean, that's just completely screwed. And it shows in there that at no point in time did I trust Scott DeCosta. I was going to him because he was the only one that would let me. The recordings that are in one of those folders there are the ones from, oh, they're on this computer as well. I think this might be the only place they are because I don't think I was able to get this one working at the time. So this one right here, these videos on the side, I was able to make and record. I think this is the one that I was recording on when Burr showed up because I was trying to show him evidence on this computer while I was being recorded. So that's what these ones right here would be. There's also one here called evidence. That's when I got my first opportunity to actually, where is my mouse? There it is. When I first got my opportunity to use my recording device, after I got it back, this is what I downloaded it to. So there's one voice recording, and it is an hour and 43 minutes long. I just don't remember. I think that might have been over at Dallas's house when we were getting my stuff. It is. Nope, that's Wendell. That might be the one where the thread is, where he talks about the sheriff trying to run me out of town, but it's an hour and 43 minutes long. It's an awful lot of listening to get to that part. And there's a lot of them like that where, you know, people admit all the things that I had said were true, but you might have to sit through a whole hour-long video for 1, 2, or 3 little bits of information out of people. but each one, matters. It all shows that I was telling the truth from the beginning. I mean, I literally had to break the law, and that sucks. Nobody should have to break the law. And right here, this is with Tim Beeson. This is Natalie's ex-boyfriend. So we got him in here too. Look at that. His very first one was March 21st of 2017. At this point in time, we had a mutual friend named Kevin Javon Huber. He typed, "You have my attention. You may not be glad you do. Careful who you pester with your crybaby Chimo shit. I know the story. I know your face. I know what you do. It stops before I handle it. I promise you rather deal with police and prison than me." I didn't want to deal with any of it, but I was totally down with dealing with the police and going to prison. That's the thing, is like people were destroying my life that badly. I just needed to be left alone. Chapel, Nebraska is the wrong place. Anyway, he types, "So let's just have that as the fact. I've read in every message start to finish. You're a fucking fruit and you have some straight up obsession issues. That's why," yeah, I was fucking obsessed with not being fucking harassed for the rest of my life. I was obsessed with being able to see my loved ones. What the hell is wrong with this doucher? This guy right here is Dakota. He's a friend of, well, he knew, there's Haley Smith. She's not a friend anymore either. Most of those people aren't. See, it was a popularity contest. Dakota Cooper, he's one of, shit. That's not what I meant to do. Here it is. I gotta go the other way. Let's see, I've read every fucking message. I've read every message start to finish. You're a fucking fruit and you have some straight up obsession issues. That's why you ain't got friends. You were asked nicely, and I don't make threats. You've been warned. Well, he does get to the threat making here just shortly. I typed, "Tim, you are a bitch straight up. I'll give you my address if you want to man up." By this point, I was tired of being told to man up or to love myself and shit like that. I was just sick of it. And this guy was the first person that I could positively identify was because of Natalie and not because of Maddie Boa. Because Maddie Boa was the one that was spreading the rumors in Boulder. And people let me know that. They're like, Maddie said, Maddie said, Maddie said. But I typed, "Tim, you were a bitch straight up. I'll give you my address if you want to man up. I won't even fight back. You're also the fifth stupid cunt to threaten me over that." Let's see. Over that shit. So I don't give a fuck about your candy ass goddamned opinion. Now, if you would rather talk than be a bitch on Facebook, know that I choose not to hurt people, but I'm 100% for defending myself. I carry no weapons and I threaten nobody. Obsession? Yes. Chimo? No. You are a coward to come at me through a computer screen, just like the other four. You are a bitch. Calling me a bitch just makes you a stupid bitch. Threatening me for having mental disabilities makes you a bully. Pretending texts are the same as talking, that makes you an idiot. Let's see. You think I'm the bad guy? You can't make me be the bad guy. Bring your bitch ass here and try that pansy cake bullshit, fucking cunt rag. And he replied, "Where are you?" I typed, "Nebraska, you dumb fuck. Thought you read them all." He typed, "Address, I travel." I typed, "Good, Chapel, Nebraska. Message me when you get here. We'll take a walk out to the lake." Type, "What part of she thinks you're a low-life pile of shit don't you get? Walk nothing. I'm not here for talk. Don't let your mouth write checks your ass can't cash." And this guy just kept this shit up for fucking months. I mean,
Yeah, good shit. Did he?
He didn't. He fucking was still talking about putting me in the ground. Matter of fact, the day that I was assaulted by Waylon Lolatai, somebody was sending me fucking screenshots of what this douche was saying. I got those screenshots and found the group that it was in and the instigators as well. Anyway, he's like right here, he's talking about hurting me. He's got some more about hurting my family and stuff like that further in here. Lots of name calling, but of course I am better at name calling than he is. I'm a lot more fundamentally not an idiot.
Yeah,
And then he
right
types, look at that. I'm gonna ruin your life like you're doing to my friend. You only think you know hell. And that's the thing, is that I grew up in hell. And then he keeps doing that stuff right there, and I didn't threaten to hang myself at her house, but I sure as shit should have. I don't mean threaten it, I mean actually do it. Anyway, he's got all this stuff where he keeps typing all this stuff. Kill yourself, you'd rather be dead, blah, 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 blah. He's on the highway. Like, see, is he not saying he's on the highway right there?
Oh, it does say I'm on the
Yep. Does it say kill yourself if you'd rather be dead?
highway. Yeah.
That's the thing, is that this is, I'm just scrolling up through screenshots right now. I mean, he just keeps it up. Right here, we're when the next date is, because this guy, he just kept on going. Like, he just wouldn't stop. Of course, the more he harassed me, the more I spoke out. And of course, nobody likes it when you speak out. People love that you're honest until you're honest about them. And this is the first day that I was supposed to go to Ken and Leah's, so. But he talks about all that stuff. I mean, this is all in here. It's not just him. Like, there's all of the people who friggin' were slandering me in court. I got their words in here, showing that the narrative they were selling was not the truth. They wanted to believe the narrative that they were told by a bunch of junkies, and as a result, they felt justified in doing the horrible shit that they did. Well, their tiny penises, not mine.
Except it was just all talk.
Well, he was. The problem is that there were so many of these assholes.
Yeah, it's tiring.
But, you know, this one right here, this is March 22nd. By this point, he's pretending to be a nice guy. He typed, I hope today is better than yesterday. Keep your head up and keep focused. Is that not what he typed there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I need to read how that shit would even. How does what?
Yeah, he was trying to be a. Read this one here. When I went to Virginia, it was to save a life. I don't do well without a support network, so I set one up before I left for Virginia. And news, you know, his conversations with me about that, and also afterwards, that's all on my YouTube. I mean, these people actually exist. You can also see the arguments we had and that they had because they were on drugs. Let's see. It all fell apart, and Natalie and Alicia were all I had. All the jobs I set up, all the friends who were supposed to be there, all of it went to shit. I got Natalie's old phone. It's cracked. Alicia was going to show me how to use it, but quit her job 10 minutes after turning it on and didn't have time. It auto-corrected to the words I was using the most. I couldn't fix it. Natalie and Alicia were mad because of what I typed. And I was trying to type with a racist asshole who is a friend of Miss Jerry's, the one that I was showing you. She's in here too. Well, they had a racist post about Colin Kaepernick, which I really, yeah, don't be talking about punching a civil rights activist in the throat. That's just not cool. So they were saying that a soldier should do it. I said, well, then somebody should do that to the soldier. That's fair and equal treatment. Soldiers going up and punching black people in the throat for saying, hey, black people are people too. That's bullshit. Miss Jerry knows it. So does Tyler. I couldn't believe I saw that shit on his page. That was disappointing as hell. Anyway, Alicia was going to show me how to use it, but quit her job 10 minutes after turning it on and didn't have time. It autocorrected the words I was using the most. I couldn't fix it. Natalie and Alicia were mad because of what I typed. So I tried to explain in texting, which still wasn't fixed, and that phone was a fucking phone from hell. The moment that I got it, I mean, it just whatever it wanted to do, it did. Alicia typed things like, "You showed your true colors. My sister doesn't need your help. You let your intentions be known." That's the thing. It's like I was fucking stranded there and dehydrated. You know, how does that show my intentions? I was fucking stuck in the middle of the road with a busted vehicle. And by the way, the police screwed up my vehicle even further.
They do.
They broke part of the the rear hatch. It was it's just a rear hatch, but it was a Honda Civic, and there's two hydraulic things that are in there, compressed air. I don't know which. That pulled it open, and they busted one of those completely off. Like they had to yank it off the mount. It was pulled out of the. Anyway, let's see. And I tried to type it right. It wouldn't work. I was overwhelmed. Alicia was assuming the worst, and Natalie said she would talk to me. I was freaking out. I needed to talk to her in person, but she didn't talk to me. She started sending the same stuff as Alicia. I typed over 100 messages because every time I tried to type it right, it still autocorrected wrong, increasing my anxiety, and there was nothing I could do about it. And meanwhile, it's sending, like, I'll get half of the sentence out, and it friggin' sends it out. And, like, if I don't turn it off, it just continues to do that. So if it's on text, it's going to try to call the last person who was on. So, like, the thing that sucks is the only two people that I really had to call there were Natalie and Alicia. Now, I called people from other places too on that phone, and that did the same thing. You know, it was all, I wouldn't plug that in, that's plugged into my computer. I don't think it'll try to auto download stuff, but it might.
I depend on your permission.
Oh, all right. Well, go ahead. But like it was calling. If I literally had to turn off the phone so that it wouldn't auto call like every 30 seconds. I couldn't put it in my pocket because it was that sensitive. It was just, it was crap. Yep. Well, it looked like it'd been used for BB practice. Anyway, I typed over 100 messages because every time I tried to type it right, it still autocorrected wrong, increasing my anxiety, and there was nothing I could do about it. Literally, the only thing that will help me is for Natalie to talk to me instead of assuming the worst. She thinks an autistic overload is a temper tantrum, but it's not even close to the same thing. She said her brother has Asperger's, but he has a family to help him through. I had just me in my car. She said she had panic attacks, but she treated me like crap for having them after my birthday. You know, I spent 17 hours in a hot McDonald's parking lot so I'd have the gas and food for a picnic on my birthday. And the messages between me and Natalie while I was there showed that we were friends. I wasn't stalking her. I was invited, and that's in there too. But none of these web sleuth groups want to look at that, and I posted it up repeatedly over and over and over. And a lot of the stuff they want to complain about, like I put these people at risk, like these kids that they're saying I put these kids at risk, they put their kids' faces on the net, you know. So like, and their names. So I'm like, how can you pretend like I'm a bad person because of information that you already put out there? But anyway, it says, let's see. But she treated me like crap for having them after my birthday. You know, I spent 17 hours in a hot McDonald's parking lot so I'd have the gas and food for a picnic on my birthday. Instead, We went out with Alicia to a coffee shop. It was Elliot's Coffee Grounds, or Elliot's Coffee Shop in Norfolk, Virginia. But we'll get back to reading this anyway. Talked about Alicia the whole time, and I just wanted to talk to Natalie one-on-one because two of them is too much stimuli. It was cut short when her mom found her heroin. It was the last time I saw her. She said she talked to me on the phone after that, tell me not to call her anymore, but I didn't remember the call. The thing is that when she called, it was after a text that I had sent her. It wasn't like, leave me alone forever. You're a terrible person. She called me up because I sent her a message saying, hey, while I was sitting on the road, I already knew how it was going to be taken, and I wanted to make it so that everything was all right. And, they understood they didn't have to be scared. And I went on my way home. I called her up, or I messaged her and her sister, and somebody called me from her sister's phone. It could have been her or her sister. Said, Sean, I love you, but my family's scared of you, so don't talk to us anymore. And I was fine with that. I blocked them both on the spot, and I started driving home from Virginia. But then I also got a hold of Maddie Boa to let her know that Natalie was still on heroin, that there was a messed up situation that happened, and that I was coming home. But Maddie Boa had been told by Alicia Bollinger that I threatened her family. I'm like, what the fuck? No, I didn't threaten anybody's fucking family. I got stuck in the road. And by November, I've already been having people slap stuff out of my hands, shove me, and stuff like that. I don't consider that assault because I grew up in the system. I know what getting your ass beat is, And like, that's the thing is that if I called every single person who pushed me or shoved me in for assault, I probably would have had to call in 20 times in 2017, and that was, she didn't die till December of 2017. There's a lot of stuff from the hospitals I still have to get that I don't exactly have access to without a permanent address, and of course someone to help me in person to go through it all. But you see how big that pile is. We got to find a way to get all that stuff into the vehicle and get everything to court and have access to all of it to show, like, this is literally how much that I'm having to deal with. And everybody else, they can dip out if they want. It's not going to harm them if they dip out, but it will harm me if they do, especially since everybody knows I've been trying, but I haven't been heard. Like, you're a witness to that. He's a witness to that. He's a witness to police brutality in his own right, as well as the police brutality here in Denver and the police brutality in Boulder. Also how the homeless are treated. And, there's the fact that if we go into a hospital, we automatically get treated like a junkie. Oh, it's drug related. It's drug related. Just because they're fucking homeless doesn't mean they're on drugs, dumbass. And just because the cops want you to write something down doesn't mean that you have the legal obligation to do so. The Hippocratic Oath is there for a reason. Doctors in America seem to have forgotten that. Oh, what drug company will pay us the most to prescribe their death? That's the way I look at it anyway. Anyway, let's get back to what I was reading. After that, tell me not to call her anymore, but I didn't remember the call. I do try to see it from her point of view, which is part of the reason I was freaking so bad. I understood why she took my text wrong, and if she would have talked to me, we could have cleared it up in 10 minutes instead of me wishing for death daily. And this is March 12th of 2017, or March 22nd of 2017. But anyway, me and him talked to each other like human beings for a bit. And then he went back to being that same asshole. Because right up here, he gets back to the threatening to kill me stuff. We do talk about dogs and how wonderful they are. I showed him some of the stuff that I had made, my attempts to blacksmith. But see, all through here, it's more threats, more harassment. But I just needed him to stop. Like, by the time Tim Beeson got involved, there were easily 10 or 15 people who had already gotten involved in bullshit, and all of them were tweakers. So I'm like, no, I don't want nothing to do with Maddie Boa if she's going to be like this, and I don't want nothing to do with you guys. I just want to see my loved ones. And yeah, I get that my older brother's a tweaker, but he's also my older brother, and I love him, and I think that I should be able to see him. Of course, he's also a douchebag. The situation at my grandma's funeral was so fucked up. And that's the thing, is that it's all these situations happen because there was nobody there with me in person. But like you see this with Tim, he's telling me to go hang myself, telling me all sorts of stuff. Like this is all stuff that never should have happened. This dude should have just left me the hell alone. Like you see, he keeps on typing this stuff. Now obviously he's not gonna be somebody who I feel real comfortable around, And after Natalie was dead, and he was my prime suspect, him and her dad, because those were her two predators while I knew her. This is March 24th. Like, this goes on for months and months and months. This is March 24th, 2017. And, like, he spends a lot of time typing this hate. You seeing how much that is? All that white stuff is him. I mean, I don't know how many of them I scrolled through, but there's a lot of it. That's important to go through. Like, these people were legit doing this shit. And then there's the fact that it's 1 a.m. Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Honestly, everything that I do know now should be enough.
Well, there's a lot in here. There's stuff from Bobby Forrest. There's stuff from a lot of different personalities, people who promised to help me. Um, they're blocked. You can still scroll down to find them. There's a lot of videos that I made on the road and different places I was at. A lot of the people I was trying to help. A lot of the paper evidence. People's animals love me. So I got a lot of people who send me pictures of their animals sleeping on me. I think they're weird. Yeah, that's not. You see, that little dot on the right hand side isn't even moving. And we've been scrolling for a few minutes. That's Ted Bollinger right there. This is Joseph Lee. He's a friend from Starbucks. The guy in the top picture. Becca Copeland used to be a friend from Starbucks. Tom Kelly as well. Andrew Jones used to be. This is what Chris Kurth looks like. Right there. Yep. There he is again. There he is again. There he is. Of course, it's Chapel, so we got a lot of mutual friends. Like, I saved everything that I needed to. I made videos so that people were aware. I saved the screenshots because I didn't know how to post them up. I mean, it's...
You don't know.
Well, that's what saving these does. That allows it so that since I can't remember every single person's name right on a dime, I have to stop and go, all right, there's 300 different people. I gotta try to remember which one I was talking to at the time. This one right here, this is Centoya Brown. The shit that she fucking went through. Oh my God. Like, thank goodness she finally got out of it. Jesus, nobody, that's just a fucked up life, you know. A lot of these will get the messages between myself and Natalie Bollinger. They're in here. That were on my flip phone. Um, that's also, you'll have access to, there's a, and I should write this lady's name down too. She made this web page for Natalie, and you can find her videos on my YouTube as well. And her name is Nicole. God, I can't remember. I'm so exhausted right now. Do what?
The papers.
I should probably pick them all up.
Yeah, might as well.
They're decently organized. The problem is getting them all. There's a couple of them I'm still trying to find, but I suppose we should put them into something to take to court with us.
What time those papers you gotta find and organize?
I think I'm going to stop the video.
And if anything happens, if you're getting arrested, spirit things, and if I don't know, I'll upload videos, I guess. I don't know what, but I'll just upload everything I've learned.
All right. Oh, that's not going to work. I need this thing. Right, this one right here. Real Justice for Natalie Bollinger, No Drama. That's a group that Nicole handed over to me. And, oh, sorry, I was wrong. It's not Nicole, it's Katie Cahill. We should write that down. Here's a pen.
On here?
Yep. This shows the Natalie Bollinger Tim Beeson text. That's the text that Tim Beeson was messaging with Natalie during the time that she disappeared. Where she was trying to paint me as the devil, but you see how I was talking to her when it was just me and her in those conversations. It was not even close to the same. I was more. Conversations between me and Joanna Taylor. They're in there. It shows that she was saying that if I killed myself, that she would make Natalie and Maddie's lives hell, basically. And I was like, no, that's not what I want.
Why'd she say that?
I was trying to get help, and she was trying to say all the things that a friend is supposed to say. I don't need bullshitters. I don't need those kind of friends. I need friends who are going to listen and try to understand. However, Joanna is a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl from Maryland, Colorado. She is as close to Valley as Colorado can get. She doesn't really know much about anything, and she likes to talk like she lived in a different world than she really did. She was one of those kids who was from a good environment and pushed her way into the homeless environment because she was She had a crush on a guy named Derek Parrish. He had a girlfriend named Mariah Roy. Mariah Roy was my other friend Peaches, who I don't have any bad shit to say about her. She's doing right. Her son was adopted by her husband, and they don't have to deal with Derek, which is good. He's not father material. But Joanna was talking about, making their lives hell, and I don't want that. I didn't want Natalie's life to be hell. When she said that, that's what made me decide that I had to destroy my Facebook before killing myself, because I didn't want people to Natalie. And that was over Joanna Taylor Smith writing the things that she was writing. What the fuck here? I'm not trying to get people to hurt other people. I need people to stop hurting each other. I can't handle all of this. Like, I can't handle people yelling at each other all the time. When I'm in some of my videos, you see me shouting most of the time, because I'm in an environment where it's super shouty. And thank goodness I'm shouting, because people know that I'm making a video and they don't want to be heard shouting in my videos. That's my saving grace.
Again, out of necessity.
Yep. Well, you see how we were treated when we went in there all calm and collectively. When Scott DaCosta talks to any one of these other professionals like Tara Smith, that's the lady from Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, he talks about it as if it's just one time that I talked to them and I was screaming the whole time, and that is not the case. I went to them for every time that I even raised my voice at them. I went to them at least 3 to 5 times in between each and every one of those, trying to get help. I mean, there's hundreds of pieces of paper there that aren't even filled out. I filled out a whole bunch of them, but I needed them to look at evidence, and filling out those things wasn't getting anything done. I was making sure I got extras of them, and I made sure I filled out and got photocopies of them. And when there were ones that I filled out that I wasn't able to get a photocopy of, a lot of times I was in jail or I was broke, and I wrote it down, and that's on notes that are in here, and parchment from the jails about grievances, and there's a lot of it. There's some more stuff that was written by other people. This is how inventive I had to get. This right here is from lunch. This is from my first stint in Larimer County Jail. I was they wouldn't let me have paper, so I scratched into the styrofoam lunch trays the words that I needed to. Now, they threw most of those away because they had the names of officers on them. And like Meg was saying, they seem to stop listening as soon as I bring up the cops, and that's very true.
I saw that too. I didn't really think to say anything about it. I'm happy Meg did for them unless she did a month. That's true. Shit. Why didn't I say that?
And see, that's the thing. Why doesn't anybody say that? A lot of people are like, well, you should be able to take care of it yourself. And a lot of people that know me in person are like, dude, you're not schizophrenic. I don't know why they would say that. Well, because it benefits them, because they broke the law a whole bunch. They don't want anybody to look at this and any excuse not to look at it. Like all the stuff that you've seen so far, like the police always seem to set it up so that it's something that I'm not capable of doing. They know that my back is screwed up. They know my vehicle situation is screwed up. The situation with housing up there, everybody knew that. Did that lady not friggin' nod her head about that situation with the being in the newspaper? I wish she'd just spoken up instead, though, because I do have that recorded. Just it doesn't record her nodding her head because it's that clandestine thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty looking. It's said, it is pretty looking though. That if they would investigate the crimes against them and actually take a look at just the evidence that you've already seen, like they would realize that, yeah, this is not a figment of my imagination. How could it possibly be when it was all over the Denver news? Obviously, there's going to be people doing shady shit. And then with Rob Gavin and these other places that were supposed to, because the police weren't listening to me. I had to try to tell my story to news sources, but the only news sources that really cared at the beginning to listen to me was Sword and Scale, episodes 109 and 110. That was Mike Burdett. Basically, what he did was he took an interview between myself and this guy Josh who worked for him, and he destroyed the evidence, and he admits it in the text messages or in the messages between him and I. So I mean, it's in there. I have his phone number in there and his email address. They're all in there. Like I can prove this guy existed. He works with Mike Burdett. I can show all this screwed up stuff that Mike Burdett has been involved in, and you know how many lives he's already taken part in destroying already. These web sleuth groups, including mine, these web sleuth groups, they're hideous. Most of the people that offered to help, the only reason they offered to help is much like you, they're infatuated with death. But unlike you, they seem to be more infatuated with the death of others.
I think I just want to escape more than anything. That's it.
I want to escape as well. See, with Natalie, the reason that I'm glad she got what she wanted is because, much like me, she got the mentally ill treatment. Much like me, her family were predators. She was also a victim in the system.
She was also forced to go out with everything she was supposed to.
Yeah, well, she got to at least have some growing up time. At least she had me looking out for her. I looked out for everybody, the adults, the kids, everybody. They're all human beings. I didn't care what color they were still people. I don't say that in my videos all the time, though.
I think most of the time when I watch these videos, I always just wanted to see if there was some good. I watched way more things than just Rock Evidence from Gavin's channel. You know? Usually it was basically to convince myself that there were still people that cared about finding the truth. I think that ruined it though is when I found out about you through his videos. Because the truth wasn't even really being given. I even saw that. I think the last video I saw was your video. After that, I stopped watching his stuff because I don't know, you were still alive. There was so much that could have been done that he could have done. There was no follow up. There was nothing. Yeah.
Still find all that slander about me in my phone.
Oh yeah, but he didn't say anything about it. He didn't do anything about it, and he had the power to. He still does.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more to it too. Like they got to worry about ratings. It's about making money for them. I'm supposed to understand because we're in a capitalist society. Yep. Well, that one was a collaboration with a lady called Ready to Glare, and she has a hatred towards men in general. So the way that she wrote it was basically to make me out to be a creep no matter what. Most people didn't make it through it all. Most people don't watch it all. They just skim part of it and they decide if it's interesting or not. And if they, hear somebody on there that they go, oh, I could go harass him, that'd be okay. They do that. They don't finish the thing. They don't realize that I didn't stalk her, I didn't kill her, and I didn't stalk her friends or family either. I sure as shit harassed them. Oh my God, my back is fucked up.
I get it. I watch Radio Glow as well. I used to like her videos also. Because she made it out to really seem like she was looking out for people. But
That one didn't seem very much like she was looking out for anybody. That was a very mean thing to do. And they don't realize how many people, like, I knew that somebody had made another video about Natalie because I got an influx of people threatening to kill me. Like, when Alicia Bollinger disappeared, that was because of Ted. The only person who is putting these people at risk is Ted Bollinger and themselves by exposing themselves to Ted. They've also helped to try to frame me for things that I didn't do and also force me to do things that nobody should have to do. Nobody should have to break the law to try to get the law to listen. And that was because all of my friends are broke, or they want to be friends with people who are predatory towards me over this. You know, oh, well, I'm still friends with them, dude. I don't want to get involved. I'm like, you know what, dude? Your friends was threatening to kill me and sending me pictures of knives. While Tim Beeson was sending me pictures of knives that he wanted to use to kill people, I showed him a picture of an axe that only has an edge on one side of it because it's for planing, for making a boat. It's for woodworking. If you tried to cut somebody's head off with that, you'd break your wrist. It's for fine tuning. Today we'd use what's called what is it called? A pull shave or a spoke shave. And it basically shaves off a little bit at a time, but it tries to do it as a flat plane. Like when I got into blacksmithing, I didn't get into blacksmithing to make swords and knives and killing implements. I learned the blacksmithing that I did so that I could free up my shoulder and so that I could make tools I would need to live off in the woods and get away from people. That was before Natalie died.
And that's still something I want to do, right?
Get away from people? Yeah, but I still want to help them. Like, a lot of people have these ideas about the homeless, like, oh, well, you know, these homeless wouldn't be homeless if we gave them tents. We have tents. A tent is extra weight. We have to move all the time because there's no place to put our tents for an extended period of time while we try to recover from the financial situation of being born in the United States of America and not having family help. And my family decided they were going to pretend to help, kind of, sort of, which made me feel better, but not very many of them. And then Tara with her situation in housing, like, and I got that recorded too. It's me, you know. Tara shouldn't have to go through that. And then Mom knows what kind of situation Tara's in. She's always been willing to help out other people's kids before her own. And that's always been screwed up. There's a lot of my friends like, honey, your mom is so much nicer than mine. I'm like, dude, I hear your mom at church group talking about booty sex, so don't tell me nothing. It's church group, and I can hear them women talking about nastiness, but I'm not old enough to hear. But you still hear it. You know?
But somebody, you know, a lot of people probably started off thinking the same way I'm thinking, but intentions, probably creating shelters and services for people, and I don't know what the hell happens. Some of them still work and they're doing great, and there's others that really seem to.
They had one in Denver here where it was completely destroyed. They're still doing homeless suites. That thing that guy was talking about, that's a real thing. But I'm the only person I know who's had the ability to save all this evidence too. Like this dude, if he's going to take anybody's case, he should be taking mine.
So even the shelters get destroyed, and that's actually supposed to be to help the homeless people so they can stop being homeless in the first place.
They destroy tents. They had tiny houses that they built for the homeless here. There was like 20 of them. All got bulldozed or lit on fire by the city, by the way.
Like the city police,
The police and the government, yeah, they don't like homeless people.
That's supposed to help them stop being homeless, which is exactly what
Yep.
they
All right,
want.
so they
do.
do. You have to fill the jails with something. If you fill the jails, then you get more money. You get more money, you got more funding for other things, and as long as you skimp on everything for the people in jail, from phone calls to meals, well, lo and behold, you'll make yourself a pretty handy profit.
I guess you gotta make it seem like it's not for homeless people.
It is for homeless people, though, and people know that. Everybody in America knows that. Americans aren't stupid. They're playing stupid. There's a big difference. Everybody's got to have somebody to hate. I learned that at a very young age. People don't enjoy life if they don't have someone to hate. And I've never understood why they're that way. I just know that they are. And I want to believe that if I show them another way, it will make a difference. They need to stop thinking like idiots, though. You know, if you're thinking that by thinking about a new type of tent that's going to magically fix everybody's problems, well, that new tent is not going to have a place to go, just like the old tents, just like the tents in the 1950s, the 1940s, and the 1930s, and the 1920s. They make laws so that, well, they're anti-homeless laws. Those make it so that you can get slave labor. Them chain gangs were still in use on through the 1960s and 70s. A lot of people don't remember that either. Them chain gangs during the Second World War, like, it was mostly black folks, but it was pretty much anybody who did not have any sort of recovery from the Great Depression. They were homeless. And that's what the 13th Amendment did, is it made it so that, well, it was supposed to just be used against black people, but today it's used against everybody who's homeless. If you're broke, you have no rights. If you don't have the money for a real lawyer, you won't get a real defense. People can literally lynch you in the streets. They can hang 1,500 of you from telegraph poles stretching all the way to Charleston after the war. Like, nobody did nothing about that, and that's something people don't bring up either. Like, we got all this stuff about how terrible things were. I'm like, you know what? By comparison, Rosewood was an amusement park by comparison with that. And the thing at Rosewood, that's terrible because, they only officially say that 35 people were killed, but in reality, there's over 800 black people who are missing to this day. They don't know where they all went. 800. I mean, it was a full town, and the whole town was burned to the ground. It was demolished. There's nobody left. Where did all those people go? Officially, only 35 bodies. Well, they killed a lot of people. Those were the 35 bodies they didn't find, or people walked by a few times carrying other bodies and went, well, somebody else probably picked that one up. A whole town worth. All over the rape of a white girl that never happened. And she admitted it never happened. Of course, that was until after a lot of people were dead. Yeah. A dead one? I agree.
Well, pretty privileged.
Like Joanna Taylor Smith. Did you want to be a white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes?
I used to, until I realized that I don't know. I can't explain it. I just how do I put it? Like, you start to see the world and how fucked up it is, and how these people, just have it so well and terrible in ways that I would rather not be alive to know. I might not be the prettiest, but I'm at least satisfied that everything I did is because of shit that I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's more satisfying when you don't have it easy, but you know that you did it on your own instead of people covering for you and doing everything for you.
I wish somebody on this planet could actually say that. There's nobody on this planet who can say that. That's the only thing that makes me feel any better about any of this. Is people keep telling me I just need to do it myself, and I know that they didn't do it themselves. So
Yeah.
it's good advice for somebody who, I don't know, lives on a planet by themselves. But if you live on a planet by yourself, do you really need advice about other people or how to deal with them?
Not really. I mean, yeah, nobody actually does anything alone. We don't even exist without somebody making us. But
You know, and feeding us for the first few years of our lives.
yeah, right about that too.
This thing is the worst ghillie suit in the history of ever.
Well, you could mat it up and just rub a bunch of mud on it.
Well, that's kind of the idea. I mean, it'll get natural material attached to it and tied into it. But just see how much bigger it is than my other one, and I did find my hat.
That's
See how I look. You know what this thing is for?
good. I don't know.
It's for stalking.
Isn't that kind of obvious though?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I walked down the middle of Denver with this thing on, people would probably, I don't know.
They would probably avoid you.
You know, of course, if I put a big dog bowl out there with like a big red dog bowl with a big bright yellow bowl, and I stood in front of it, people might throw money at me on 16th Street. That's one of the malls here. It's an open air mall.
Oh yeah. We walked around there trying. We went to like the train station. Yeah, we ate over there. It's pretty interesting to see that. It was so weird also because I'm just like an abnormal.
Well, this helped to make me so that I don't get seen. And that way I can get away from people as far out in the middle of nowhere as possible. And if I live, I live. If I die, I die. But I think that it should be my right to go out there and try. I'm the only person I know who can go up the mountain stark ass naked and come back down a year later in a suit of armor. I know how to find my rocks. I know how to make my furnace and my kiln. And I know how to make my hammers. And I know what I can use in nature that'll work temporarily. And I know how to refine some of the elements out of it that'll create impurities. And I know quite a bit.
I don't know that stuff. You know, Texas has a space for that.
Yeah, and it's also got a lot of heat.
Is that bad?
But yeah, until you get acclimated to it. I know people who live in Texas, who lived in Texas their whole lives, who said, you know what, dude, for 3 months out of the year, you never leave your house because you have to be near the air conditioner so you don't pass out. And I thought to myself, well, that don't sound like no fun.
If you just sit out there, some people refuse to wear sandals. That's the thing. Like they don't want to look a certain way, so they don't want like I know these people that they'll wear hoodies year round. They don't go anywhere without a hoodie. And it's like how are you supposed to be okay in the hot ass summer when all you want to do is wear hoodies and jeans? So you can't put on a pair of shorts. You can't put on flip flops. You refuse to show your arms. It's like, of course you're not gonna make it.
Well, that might be some older folks too. Can't show your arms. That'd be like over 100 years old because it was in, well, I guess the 1920s, 1930s, you were still considered a floozy if people could see your wrists or your ankles. I think that was mostly Victorian,
Not today.
though. So women are allowed to wear real clothes now.
Yes, we don't have to look like a weird ass basket.
There were some companies that during the 1920s and 30s, they would print really nice prints on their flour bags so that women could make dresses out of them. It was. If people are going to reuse the fabric for something like that, might as well make it so that your kids can have good summer clothes and maybe a good church dress because you need flour. And, well, it's back then they put it in some pretty decent fabric because they wanted it to keep. It was pretty tight weave. It was pretty thin because they didn't want to make it too expensive. I mean, after all it has in it is fabric, but it made it perfect for some of them other applications. All right, I suppose since I wasn't able to find what I was looking for over there, I have to start flipping through stuff back here. There is so much of it. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna do. If I get lucky and I don't go to jail tomorrow and we're actually able to work on this, then that would be perfect. And hopefully we don't end up with too many rough and tumble days before you have to go. But I'm really preparing for the worst, kind of like I did when that officer pulled up behind us. Despite all the reassurances that we had, it ended up being BS.
Like usual.
Yeah.
I guess the moral is to never get your hopes up.
Mm. All right, I'll let you. There's also a lot of evidence on here. It's the majority of it is just recordings, like off the little recording thing. Go ahead, I'll let you go to the bathroom. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I just got sick.
Oh, well, that looks pleasant. I wonder if this one has enough room in it to take a picture of those comments. Storage full. All right, maybe this one has nothing. Storage full. Storage is also full on this one. This one wants me to delete stuff before it'll work on anything. That is a pain in the butt. Oh my god, yes, I got it. I'll take a picture with this and you guys can see exactly what these people are typing. Let's see. Camera. Alright. This is what this dude was typing at me. He seems to be homophobic as well. Is that because I'm wearing pink? Pink is my favorite color. It's the most manly color there is because men are afraid of the color pink. Well, many of them are. See, there's some hate words right there. But a nice guy, right? And I probably got to drop a deuce or two. You're welcome for sharing. Oh, here's another bag of pictures. See if what I'm looking for is in here. And this is some public stuff. Here's people didn't think I'd tell all their secrets. Human lives worth more than your BS, more than your drama. Pictures of tanks. I like how things work. Oddly enough, the ones in these pictures that I'm looking at, two of them don't even have guns on them. They're medical. Yeah, I don't look at military technology with the intent of building military technology. I look at it with the intent of saving lives. Yeah, I should probably shut it off.
It was never not shut off.
They did? Oh my god, no. We're all going to hell since they heard Cheeto munching. They're going to call you a Satan worshiper because it was red.
I probably am. Just kidding.
You don't believe in worshiping Satan?
No, I don't believe in worshiping anything except, I don't know, maybe the Cheetos.
Oh my god, you're going to get us all shot. They're going to say we're part of some Muslim hate group or that we're anti-Semitists or that we hate Mexicans or something. All because you said you worship Cheetos. This is the United States of America. Everybody's hopped up on pharmaceuticals, all right? They can't tell fantasy from reality, and they might think that you're a golden flipping unicorn at this point. And now they're going to call you schizophrenic. You must be mentally ill. We have to lock you up. Are you ready for your injection?
As long as it's not, I don't know. I don't know medications. I can't make jokes like that. The only kind of medication I took for mild stuff, for simple things. For example, Tylenol.
So if I'm gonna find that, I need that paperwork. I'm hoping just because it was
Fall behind the couch or something dumb like that. It's usually what happens. Okay, Mr. Tutti Frutti. What were they about?
yeah, I was all over the place. This is
I
all
wonder.
stuff that was written by other people. No, I do. I was trying to I try to get people to stop. Like when I said stop, I don't know when I said stop a few more times. Just for the report. There's a lot of stuff on there. And most of these people I'm not friends with anymore. Actually, Amanda Gannett and Megan Steve, I still am. Those are my two good friends. They're all this was from John still. This is an old password that might be on some of my old stuff. Here, I'll go back to phone numbers here. That was written by Morgan H. We are not friends anymore because of this. This right here is important. That was supposed to be the phone that I had to try to help save lives. We were going to do that. I believe that was in Shannon Alvarado's. These are some of my officers with the officers that I know. She's in Raymond County already. This is for very small. That's important. Here's some of the passwords that I used previously. That was, these are pretty important. There's probably that makes me talk to today. This is really good that I was with while I was creating a couple of the phone numbers. There's so much stuff here that they knew I could make it. It shows it all on exactly what you want. Phone number I'm supposed to call. I think that might be David Conway. That's social media. David Conway.
Not this stuff. Is it? I just hold on to it.
So that whole shooting about the evidence. Yep. And we have, that's just the paper stuff. We've only gone through about 20 of those. We went through probably about, what, 10 or 15 videos.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's only thousands more. It's fine. Yeah, and I can't find my lighter. But I left it outside because when I'm out the window, sometimes I because I want to keep it as closed as possible so he doesn't get cold.
There's one here.
So then I just kind of leave it there. Most of this stuff is stuff that's written by other people. That's also why I got it separated. There's also hundreds of them that we have it on the internet. The problem is we didn't know who to take it to. You know, who do we call?
People who did call or just left us talk of answering machines. Or send us to someone else.
Who sent us to someone else? Who sent us to someone else? Yeah. You know, they get hostile anytime you try to turn in one of their officers. On the bright side, I got a pink shirt. By the way, one of the dudes on the videos calling me bad names. My mangina is bleeding.
Are you good now?
Yeah, he typed FAGGOT as if that was gonna harm me as a human being.
Even though at this point that might as well just be any other word. What you do?
But you can see it.
Are we still on? Oh wow.
I can't find my yellow lighter though. Now I have it back. I'm gonna have to throw myself for a beating.
The tiniest.
Right? You need a sweetheart.
No, we just love fandom.
I do. Now I'm gonna allow it to show because I think censorship is bullshit. Now if somebody's gonna continue to be a brazen troll, I'll eventually just erase everything or hide it from channel. Because if I hide it from the channel, then people can't see it, including myself. And if they're just going to be trolls and they're not going to try to be helpful or useful and they're not interested in the truth, what purpose do they have commenting in the begin with?
It's fine. They're doing something and they're doing nothing.
Well, on the bright side, at least I finally got someone here in person to take a look at this stuff. Oh no, that is my Boy Scout handbook. It feels like my Boy Scout handbook. It's a black sock.
I don't remember that much. Oh, well, not this one. Does this one work?
What?
No, I thought this one worked.
Oh, I got mine. Here's the Boy Scout handbook. This should go with my go bag. I think I'm gonna have a tobacco and then I'm gonna poop. Hey, did you hear that, America? I'm gonna poop. There are 2 chargers for computers with extra tips. In the process of moving a whole bunch, everything eventually ends up disappeared. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to speak for me, but at least you're here, which is better than not being here.
Well, honestly, that's what I was trying to talk to you about earlier. And I never actually been to court for anything else but this one ticket I got. You know, I don't know what that's like. I don't have experience with that, so.
You might be too scared to speak.
No, it's not that. I'll speak. I just, don't know if what I'm gonna say is gonna be enough. Or, like, you know, I wanna know if there's something that, I mean, I know that everything that I know is something I need to mention. But I don't know, like.
They're not going to give us the time to do that, which is why she was saying to write out a statement.
Yeah.
Try to, you know.
Write it all down.
Yep. And since we were treated that way a lot, you know, it's important to write that down too. Like it's not like it was just 1 or 2 officers that we had to deal with that were like that. It was pretty steadily just sucked. But I think a lot of people, they thought as soon as Natalie's killer was found that it was all over and people were going to leave me alone. I'm like, no, they're not. That's the thing, is that you guys got no idea what this is like. Going back to any of the places where I have a safety or support network, it's unsafe because of police. You know, I went to these guys ahead of time before Natalie was ever killed because I needed help. And then they just pretend it never happened. Like, if you don't turn on your body camera, it didn't happen. Well, them cops should have their body camera on them at all points in time. You never know when you pull up to a traffic stop or you'll pull up at a friggin' stop sign and see a crime as a police officer. And it benefits all of us for it to be recorded, you know? The first aid in this is pretty long, so I'm trying to make sure that it's marked as well.
I actually like that book. When I was reading through it, and I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of interesting stuff here.
It's not a Susie Homemaker book,
That's why I like it.
I figured.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with learning domestics.
I've had a lot of people tell me that when they were in the Girl Scouts, they didn't learn anything, and they were jealous because boys get Boy Scouts. Why aren't Girl Scouts like Boy Scouts? Why don't they get to go camping?
I have no damn clue.
All right, so a lot of boys wondered if they taught you guys how to raise babies in Girl Scouts.
No, that was home ec.
That was home ec?
Or the what's it called? The something about human development or some crap. And they do that in high school. And it used to be mandatory, I think, according to some of the older ladies I talked to. All the girls in high school had to take that class back in the day. Later, they made it to where, everybody was supposed to take that class at some point. I never took it, though. I don't know why. They cared more about me perfecting my language in Spanish.
Mrs. Lowe and Mrs. Ford were my two home ec teachers. Mrs. Lowe was the teacher in chapel, and Mrs. Ford was the teacher in logical. Mrs. Ford was also a guidance counselor, and I helped put the shingles on her roof. She was a pretty nice lady. When I got kicked out of logical high school, I was in her class, but it was a beast of a woman named Miss Susie, who was, and I don't mean like heavy set, I mean she was just a wicked woman. But she was filling in, she did not like me. And that was because of the situation. I don't know what happened between her and my brother, but it got brought up my very first day in class. I was like, oh my God. All right, so I just got done riding in a vehicle with Regina Calvin, who hates men. And now I'm in this lady's class. My God, what is going on here? Have I walked into the Twilight Zone? Holy shit, I am in culture shock. There are no black people here. What am I going to do? And then Regina showed up, or Gina. And she was half black. And she was my lab partner in biology. And she made logical not suck so bad.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah. People school. I don't even want to remember school. I remember all the time I would like to. School was hell for me. Almost my entire school life.
I wanted to go to school, even though I knew that Dylan Bauer was going to pick on me every day at school. I still walked 9 miles to school every day. I still jogged back home 9 miles from school every day. I knew that Dylan Bauer was going to be a prick, and I knew that other people were going to be pricks with him. I knew that Shauna Talish was going to be mean to me, and that all the girls that wanted to be her friends because it was a popular thing to do were also going to be mean to me. And I knew that ignoring them was not fixing the problem. But I still went to school every day. I got made fun of every day. When I started going to school in chapel, I got made fun of quite a bit for walking the logical every day and jogging back. And a couple of them folks see me every day going to school and from school every day. And I said, hey, you should try him out for track. The mile and the 2 mile are both a lot faster paced than a 9 mile. A lot faster paced.
I feel like you probably understand the speed, right?
Pretty much. Well, not anymore. I don't have stamina or speed. I haven't been able to run since October 18th of 2015. That was over a guy Ventus knows by the name of Josh Hughes. He didn't get me hurt. His
not listening resulted in the situation where I got hurt. So it's not his fault that everybody else dropped the gun lathe. It's just his fault that I had to move the gun lathe to begin with. You know,
I haven't done anything else on my plan either. I also mean, I was running or working or something like that.
well, that video that I made with Amanda earlier, that's not on YouTube. The ones that I made with Meg earlier, also not on YouTube. Like, I don't want to post any of this shit on YouTube or on Facebook, but the truth needs to be known. It needs to be out there. And with Meg, at least that stuff, if we can get a foot in the door, we can get that stuff seen in private, where it's not going to be having to be all over the internet and telling people's names all out for God and everybody to be judges and assholes. I still think of the volunteers as human beings, and I think that they should have a right to defend themselves as well. The problem is that they don't get to defend themselves. They're too busy being offensive. I think that at least two of Natalie's stepmothers would have been more honest. One of them would have been more honest and more helpful if it hadn't been for police pulling the shit that they were pulling. Also, there's a lot of stuff about Natalie's family that really needs to be brought up. Like this harassment that I've been going through has been for years, and you've gotten to see at least some of it. But I mean, there's a lot more to it, and those stories are all true. It's just a matter of unburying them. A lot of people got a lot invested in trying to get it buried so that nobody ever sees it, and well, I got a lot invested in showing the truth because it's my loved ones who are dying of this shit. He knows a lot of dead people too.
I don't know
Well, he spent enough time that he may not know all the homeless people here, but that's because the homeless people here are different. If you'd gone to Boulder, well, at least while I was living there, it was a different place. It was your ray of hope. It was your sunshine on a rainy day. As a stranger with gas, when you're roasting on the side of the road, going, man, $5 would get me to somewhere. A lot of people helped me in a lot of shitty situations that I've been in. Like when the cops did messed up things there in Virginia, it was a black dude who worked at a place called Food Lion who helped me out. Now, why is it important that he was a black man? That's because the white people there weren't too nice to me. A few of them were, like Natalie and Alicia, but for the most part, yeah. They don't like poverty there any more than anywhere else in the United States, and that's screwed up because Virginia's got one of the highest poverty rates in the nation. But you kidding me? You mean poor folks hate folks here? Why is this still black folks and white folks? Why is it that I go to a Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia, and all of the people wearing managers' vests are white people, and the people who are wearing the workers' vests are either mentally disabled or black? Why is that? That just don't seem right to me. Same thing in North Carolina, though. Walmart's not racist. It's just Virginia that's racist. So Walmart's following Virginia policy. No, Walmart's straight up racist in Virginia, too. Their hiring practices there are racist. And I'm pretty sure that if you go to Georgia, it's probably not much different. But I'm going to ask you because you've been there. Is it a lot different in Georgia than that?
In some places, yeah. There's a lot of people that are managers there. But I guess the difference is, or I guess what kind of makes it almost the same, is that managers there that are black or any other race that's not white, it's usually Walmarts, fast food restaurants, retail stores. But when you think about like corporate or, I don't know, the big businesses where people are actually on top. There's usually white. But then there's the illusion that blacks have power, I guess, or something because there's a guy running to be senator or something. Yeah, just because of a few little token minorities that are in politics. It's kind of like made out to be that, oh yeah, we're advancing and whatever. But if you look at the people and not the politicians, it's
They're still broke. They're still living in hovels. There's still racism, and the KKK is still there.
yeah,
Yeah, we voted for a black guy into Congress, so we're not racist anymore, and you guys can leave us alone. No, it don't go that way.
exactly. But people still buy it.
Yeah, a lot of the folks that I worked with at Labor Ready down there, when I was asking why they sit at lunchtime, they were sitting at a different place than the managers. You know, everybody had their own reason or whatever, and then it's almost like they all chimed up at once and said, well, it's just what their granddaddy taught them. And that makes a lot of sense. Yep. I'm going to try to charge this stuff before I go anywhere, before I pack this up. But I think we got enough stuff to try to pack things in.
We should try to do that first. Yeah, or at least having it ready to put in advance.
By that time, it'll be a lot more than pretty late. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop that video just because the only reason I haven't is because I've been too lazy to press the button. I don't even know if it'll have sound on it when they get this long sometimes.